welcome everyone to my first episode of Toy Talk and Stuff. I'm your host, GL1, and today I have some of my friends with me to go through um, the beginning of my extensive toy collection. And I'm doing this because I have a lot, a lot of toys that I'd like to share with everyone. And I've really enjoy sharing the joy of toys. There's a lot of dark things in the world, and toys have always brought joy. The concept behind toys is to bring joy and happiness, and I appreciate the art and the sculpting that went into the toys, the marketing. They are designed by adults, so I appreciate them as an adult and everything that goes into them. And my friends here and I are going to go through aspects of my collection with you. Oftentimes people ask me how I got started, and I can tell you the moment that I or the moment I decided that I wanted to collect toys was two figures I got. One, my sister got me the Hulk, 1990 Hulk, and you have a little trigger here, you pull him together, and he bends the bar, and I never thought this little piece of plastic was going to last, but it has all these years. And the other figure I got from my father is Firepower Rambo, and I still have the card, and he has little grenades that he can hold in his hand, and he has his knife and rocket launcher, has the little rockets with it that mount onto the gun, and the spring part of the Firepower Rambo doesn't work any longer, but there was a moment after high school when I was in my room, and I'd taken off some time to earn money for college, and so I really didn't have much going on other than work, and I was looking at my two toys, these two figures I had, and I said, you know, I like these. I'm going to get more. And so I got a lot more. When I was a kid, I had some really great toys. I had Micronauts, I had some Shogun Warriors, Godzilla, and various, I like rubber monsters and things like that quite a bit. And I just always took care of my toys. I never lit them on fire. I didn't try to break them. I had army men, and I was always very meticulous about keeping track of them, never losing them, even when I brought them outside. And it's a lot of fun to take army men and set them up in mulch and dirt and, a little grass and things like that. And as part of my collection, I actually have army men that go back to the late 60s. They're quite ridiculously detailed, sometimes kind of gruesomely, and all the way up into the 80s. I have army men and Germans, Koreans, Japanese, and they're just little plastic figures. I also, I wanted to have this online museum because it's the easiest way to share with everybody my interest and love for toys. And I have a list, and this is just a partial list, but I wanted to share with you some of the categories of toys that I have. And these are categories I have quite a few of. So there's Transformers, Barbie, Monster High, Hot Wheels, Matchbox, and other little cars in various sizes. There's, of course, as far as heroes, Marvel, DC. I even have I have probably a pretty big video game action figure collection. I think someone would consider it pretty big, and I don't play any video games. I have a big Power Rangers collection, the Zords, especially I like robots, so I have a lot of Zords. I have some Micronauts, some of the reissues, but also some of the old ones, going back to the 70s. I have a Godzilla collection, a King Kong collection. I have a great Jurassic Park, Jurassic World collection. I hope you really enjoy that. I have a nice, good-sized Star Wars collection, Legos and Mega Blocks, and the robotics toy, and other kinds of robotics construction sets, like Connects and things like that, and even just some other odd brands here and there that I can share with you. I have an awesome RC vehicle collection, RC cars. I'm not really into the flying things, so it's a lot of monster trucks and fast cars and dune buggies and a lot of things that I've customized. Let's see. I have Spawn, some good Voltron figures, Moxie Girl, Mini-Mates, WWE, WCW, and even some AEW, but quite a big WWE collection. Old Army toys, as I mentioned, but I even have some from Italy. I have some Fresh dolls. I have anime figures, Star Trek, Nerf. I have a really big He-Man collection of all the 3 different generations and even kind of the online exclusive ones, so He-Man Classics. I have a good Wonder Woman collection, Dragon Ball Z, Gundam, Exo Squad, and as it says, many more. So that's what I want to share with everybody. So it's toy talk and stuff. And the stuff is kind of a catch-all for all the other things that I'm going to get into. I watch a lot of movies, and so a lot of my toys do relate to movies and TV shows and things like that. So I'll be relating them to that, to outside ideas, as well as some science and just other kinds of ideas. There might even be a philosophical thought or two. So these are my regulars that I have with me today, and I have Yoda. Hey Yoda, how's it going? Something about the Force, you know, who knows what Yoda's always talking about. And then Optimus Prime.
Autobot, transform and roll out.
Well, he's always interested in just going somewhere, rolling out and going off and getting everybody all riled up. And then we have Robbie the Robot.
For your convenience, I am monitored to respond to the name Robbie.
That's for your convenience, okay? Don't be mistaken on that. And then we have Hulk. Hulk, how's it going? And sometimes he's just got to growl for us. And we have Death Star transforming Vader. The circle is complete. I've been collecting for a long time, and now we've brought everything together, and he's got a little bit of an asthma problem, but the circle is complete. And we have Arnold, Terminator. He will be back. We'll be talking to him some more. And then we have Iris, the Yoga Barbie. We're going to take an imaginary bubble bath and take the biggest bubble. Blow the biggest bubble. Yeah, and that's her thing. Thank you, Iris. And then we have 2013 Metroplex. And sometimes that's all he says. And I'll tell you, when a little story about 2013 Metroplex. 2013 Metroplex was a great gift to myself. And I sat him in the front seat of my car when I went to go pick up my son. And we drove, and he was sitting there, and when my son came to the car, there was Metroplex sitting in the front seat, all seat belted in, and he was like, "What's this, Dad?" And I said, "Well, Metroplex is this is where he's decided to sit, so you got to get in the back." And sort of irritatedly, he did. And we talked to Metroplex on the way home, and Metroplex had a lot of rude kind of things to say. He's very aggressive with my son. And later that night, Metroplex also found himself in my son's bed, and much to my son's continued annoyance, Metroplex really didn't want to move over. So Metroplex has kind of a storied history with my son. Also with us is our other friend. Yes, we have 1998 Godzilla Puppet. So 1998 Godzilla Puppet doesn't really say a lot, right? No, he doesn't say a lot, but he's going to be here with us. And our special guest today, ta-da, is Dr. Malcolm from Jurassic Park. And Dr. Malcolm, anything you'd like to tell us about being here today, or anything about yourself? And that's what we get from Dr. Malcolm. But Dr. Malcolm wanted me to tell you that he is a chaotician, not a mathematician, chaotician. And if you don't know what that is, you can watch Jurassic Park, and when he's in the car with everybody, he tries to explain it. It has something to do with water on a knuckle and flirting. So he's our special guest today, and every week we'll have a different special guest. He happens to fit in one of our monster high chairs. Today, oh my gosh, how could I have forgotten? We have Goldberg. And every time you say Goldberg, his entrance music plays. So it's kind of a long introduction. Anytime you want to ask Goldberg anything, it's a whole rigmarole that you're going to go through. And Goldberg is here with his friend Sting. And Goldberg, do you have anything to say to Sting?
I'm Goldberg, and I fear no man.
He doesn't.
I'm a stinger, and I'll sting
He's stinging. Oh, well, it looks like that's all they had to say. Well, that's fine. That's fine, because sometimes the two of them go on and off. So today, the collection that...
We'll get you next time.
just so you know.
I'll sting you next time.
It's going to sting you next time, okay? Which will probably be later this session. So what we're going to talk about today is King Kong toys. And the reason we're going to start with King Kong is because it's a good jump off into other toys that we can get into. So I'm going to begin with 2005, got King Kong with Jack Black. And pretty much have the entire collection. So there are different King Kongs with different action. Like this one, you can rotate the arms up, and there's a button in the back, and he can slam you down. And he has some knees and some hip articulation. So that's kind of cute. And then we have this King Kong. This one, his head can turn. He's more of just a full, kind of going for more articulation King Kong. His gimmick is that you can turn him like this, and he can hold your, let's say, a dinosaur head in one hand. You can move his fingers, and if he wants, he can kind of pummel you or throw you around with that button. Really frightening action there. And then we have this one. This is sort of this is more of the full articulation King Kong. Okay. And then this one here, the more specific motion King Kong. He has a trigger in the back, and he just does that, and his fingers don't move, but his head turns a little bit, and he's got a lever in the back, and he does that, and he doesn't have any knees. But anyway, that's those guys. And then one of these, there's this one that is still in the box, and it comes with a exclusive comic book on the back. And I was going to open it, but it turns out it was worth $100, and I got it for $3. And I'm like, maybe I should just leave it in the package, because you don't really. I end up just most of the time with my toys. The way that I entertain myself with them really is just looking at them, setting them up in different positions and looking at them. Additionally, I have, from the 2005 King Kong movie with Jack Black, is I have the big one. And the big one has levers where he can beat his chest, and he has an on-off button over here, And he plays music. You hear screaming in the background. You can push his chest button, his mouth moves, and he plays the music all over again. So he's pretty cool. And then that wasn't enough for them. They wanted to make one that you can hug and take to bed, and it's Huggable Kong. And you can squeeze his chest, and he does some heavy breathing and some guttural sounds, and then some gorilla roaring, and that's the fuzzy King Kong. There's been debate in my family as to whether he's an action figure or not. I think he is because he does have hard, those plastic hands. He's, his body, of course, is plush, but you could definitely play and pummel other figures with him. So I don't know. I think he's kind of an action figure. So that is 2005 King Kong collection, and I do have some of the other figures that came with that movie, the V-Rex and some of the other, island monsters there from Kong Island, and we'll be seeing them later. Other Kongs that I have are Rubber Kong, and this has your little metal wire inside, and these, you can move them around. Now, if you move them around too much, the wire often snaps, that's something that Yoda's been a little upset about, right, Yoda? What do you think about that the wire could snap? I'm not clear. Could you repeat? Well, a Jedi strength does flow from the Force, but it really isn't going to help our Kong figure if the metal wire breaks inside. What do you think, Hulk? Well, this is a show called Toy Talk, and not really Smash the Toys. But maybe Vader. Do you have anything to add? Who? With you mean Hulk, or do you mean the King Kong? It's a little vague, Arnold, what do you think? What do you think about that? Okay, all right. So I won't ask you again. All right, it'll be a while before I come back and talk to you. And then Metroplex, what do you think? And the Decepticons are foolish. That's what he wants you to know. And I really wouldn't mess with that guy either if I were a Decepticon. He's rather large. Optimus Prime, anything that you think?
I want you to make a special run to Autobot City.
Okay, but is that going to help us with anything having to do with the metal wires inside our King Kong toy? Anything?
Megatron must be stopped.
Okay, so he's just bent on Megatron all the time. Robbie, anything you got to say? He's analyzing. All right, and I must ask Goldberg, do you have anything? No, don't. Just listen to the music. It's really, anytime you want to ask Goldberg an opinion, you got to go through this. But all right, Goldberg, do you have anything you'd like to say about King Kong and the metal wire?
I'm Goldberg, and I fear no man.
Okay, obviously that's.
I'm the singer, and I'll sting ya. I'll spear ya. Hey, Goldberg, I'll beat you with my scorpion death.
These guys, they just get on this thing. They get on and on. And somebody fell, and but obviously I have nothing to add. But anyway, that's a King Kong. Now, also we have, like, for the collectors of King Kong toys, we have this fine model here. Okay, there's Spirit, there's Stingin', it's a whole thing with those two. So we have this model of King Kong. This is more like the 31 King Kong movie, and it comes with an alternate head, and you can add a different head to that, and if you want, he can also hold Jane. So there's that, right? So the only thing with this one is the head kind of comes off easy. You can move it around, but it tends to come off. I'm not, there like that. But that makes it easy to put the other head on, but it comes off a little bit too easy. But there, now it's Angry Kong. Okay. And I also have another collectible Kong. This one came out. This one, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago, and then this one probably about a year ago. This is another Kong. It has better articulation in the elbows and the knees. It has a double joint. He's skinnier, as you can see, and taller. This is more from the 2017 King Kong movie, and he has an alternate. He's got some alternate head as well. So, and there's not a lot of difference. I guess one's kind of smiling and one's angry, but I don't find him to be that attractive of a figure. Like, I kind of think this one's a little bit cuter, but I do like the articulation with this one. And then we have our really big 2017 King Kong here. Ta-da! And this guy's pretty cool. He can move his head all around. He has the double elbow joints, so he can really bend his arm in and be a little bit more expressive. His wrists turn. He doesn't have any moving legs. He can move his feet around. But it keeps him stable. He'd probably fall over. It'd be hard to have joints, that can hold him stable for something this big. And this was only $20 when it came out at the time. It's quite a bargain. And what's nice about it is if you have a really big Godzilla, or maybe even a Metroplex. Metroplex, what do you think about it? Metroplex thinks he'd better get something ready for a guy like this. But he could fight with him, to scale. And, of course, Hulk likes to fight with everybody. Hulk, what do you think? Hulk likes beans. Good. That's nice, Hulk. Yeah. Yeah. Arnold, did you have anything to say?
I'll be back.
Okay. He says he'll be back. And Dr. Malcolm, do you have anything to say about what's been going on here with these figures? Anything going on? No? Any thoughts? No, nothing. All right. And of course, Godzilla Puppet, 1998 Godzilla Puppet. Anything that you would say? No? I don't think that they're going to get along. And we can discover that later with my Godzilla collection, because if you think my King Kong collection is cool, I have a really cool Godzilla collection. And fortunately, Goldberg did not knock over onto the floor Optimus Prime. This Optimus Prime is made of metal, and he has real springs in his suspension, and he has little hydraulics in the back here, and rubber tires, and he has a matrix of leadership inside here, which lights up, and he has a little, I think he has a lever here. You can move his face up and down a little bit when he's talking. So he's quite a toy. In fact, I remember the year this came out. I don't know, it might have been 10 years ago or so, and they said it was like best toy ever made on some magazine. So he's pretty cool. Let's see, we have one more. So from the more recent Godzilla vs. King Kong movie, we do have a King Kong. I did not buy everything in that collection, but I bought this one. I liked him because he had really good articulation. He can move his elbow around, his wrists, he's got knees, he can move his hips, he can move his head around, and this was only $10. And I was like, you know what, for $10, this is a pretty nice figure. I like it. All the other ones had like a more specific kind of gimmick, or it only did this, or it made a sound or something like that, and I had enough of that. But I just thought like a good simple representation of the King Kong from that movie would be great. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Optimus, what do you think about that?
All we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.
Well, we could use a lot of luck, definitely, and maybe a little energon would help. King Kong thwart his enemies in the future. So that's our King Kong collection, and I think that it's time maybe before we go, we could take one more question to see what Iris has for us. Maybe Iris Yoga Barbie. Do you have anything for us? Like maybe just something to say? Oh, well. I am strong. Little yoga break here. I am unique. You could be anything. Okay, you can be anything. And last thing that I want to go over with you is I've got a couple tips for you. So if you ever order an action figure through the mail, a lot of times the weather is a little bit cold out there, and the figure, when you get it, the joints would be cold. And sometimes, even if maybe you didn't get it in the mail, but you just brought something home and you felt like the joints seem a little too stiff and you're afraid to move them, or let's say it comes with multiple heads, and you feel like if you pulled the head off, you could break something. So what I've learned to do is, if I feel any resistance in a joint, I boil some water in a pot, and I dump the action figure in there while it's boiling. Now, hopefully, nothing with stickers or anything like that. Doesn't damage. I haven't had it damage any paint. But I let it simmer in there for, maybe 10 seconds, maybe 20. This plastic will get really soft. Sometimes something will fall apart. You can stick it right back together. So you've got to be careful. You don't want to do it too long. But it will help you loosen up a joint or bend a knee or a shoulder or something if it seems really stiff, or exchange heads. Sometimes I get figures that just the hands that you can exchange, and they're on so hard that you just feel like you're going to break the wrist or something like that. So that's one thing I do with that. And then another thing, I waited many, many years to find a glue that could fix many toys. And there are toys that I got that broke many years ago, and I just waited and waited and waited. And I said, well, one day they will have a glue that will work, and I cannot recommend more highly shoe glue. It is weatherproof. It dries rather quickly. Now, I usually let things sit overnight, just 24 hours, to really make sure the glue cures. But a lot of times it really will glue something in like 10 minutes or half an hour. I've glued ceramic handles onto cups and run them through the dishwasher for over a year, and it still works. The glue doesn't expand. It's clear. It will work. I've done it on automobiles, like if the chrome is coming off, glue the chrome on, and it's done great with being weatherproof. And if you have something delicate and you need to hold it while it's drying, this is a solder tool. So you could order something like this from RadioShack.com, and this is, you can put your soldering iron in here, but it moves around. And what's great about it is if you have something, you want to hold it on one side and hold it on the other, and and then you're going to like glue it in between. You just have to hold something together. This is a great thing to have it hold overnight. So very useful toy. And shoe glue you can get, I know you can get it from Walmart and Lowe's, probably Home Depot. I didn't get it there, but this is the Loctite brand. But I got another brand once, and it seems to also be just as good. So just look for shoe glue for your fixins of stuff. And that's all we're going to have this time for Toy Talk and Stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I have a lot more to show you. And next time, we will do the jump off from the King Kong theme into Gorilla Transformers. And I think from Beast Wars, it is Optimus Primal. So we'll begin with Optimus Primal. Anybody happy about Optimus Primal? What do you think, Optimus, about that? Okay, he thinks he's probably going to transform and get out of here. Robbie, anything you need to say about it? Well, that's
To transport you to the residence.
okay. Well, all right. Well, when Optimus gets here, Optimus Primal, you can transport him. Oh, can you think that maybe you could warm up to Optimus Primal? Anything warm? Smashing is what Hulk. That is what you do best. But I'm not. I don't really want you to smash him. How about Death Star Vader? It's always a religious thing with him, you know. It's just always he's disappointed in a lot of people. And Metroplex, do you have anything nice to say? I don't think I'd want to be a Decepticon right now. He wants to deactivate them, and that can't be nice. But everybody, Arnold, anything that you want to say to everybody? That's true. Hasta la vista, and I will be back, like it or not. So thank you very much for watching, and see you later.